What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Saturday, December 25th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 5-game slate today. So let's take a look at the point guard position. So this guy's just been on absolute fire. I like Kemba Walker from the New York Knicks playing the Atlanta Hawks, who have the 8th worst defense overall. They give up the 7th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Kemba Walker has averaged 26.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 27 minutes per game. But take a look at his last 3 games. This guy's just been on fire since he changed teams. Now he's playing for the Knicks. He's playing a ton of minutes, scoring a ton of fantasy points. He scored 71, 41, and 43 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 42, 39, and 37 minutes. Sometimes it always confuses me when you got a player who's just crap on one team. He moves to another team, and the guy just goes off and plays like a totally different guy. I mean, I guess the fact that he's playing 37 to 42 minutes in the past 3 games is the difference and the role that he has on the team. So, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but it's just funny to me when you see that. So, Kemba Walker, he's going to be about 38% owned, projected at 33.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.4 times value. He's 6,100 DraftKings salary, 500 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 210 points scored in this game. And this just looks like one of my favorite plays on the slate because of the amount of minutes that he's playing and his production since he joined the Knicks. So I like Kemba Walker here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. So here's a value play for you, and this is probably my favorite value play on the slate because there's some injuries that are giving this guy a ton of minutes. Reggie Bullock is out, Trey Burke is out. Now if both those guys are still out here today, take a look at Sterling Brown from the Dallas Mavericks playing the Utah Jazz, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing shooting guards. And Sterling Brown, he scored 35 and 33 fantasy points in his last 2 games, playing 36 and 32 minutes. He's going to be about 16% owned, and I think he's going to score 25 fantasy points or more if he continues in that role playing 30-something minutes. So he's only 3,900 DraftKings salary and 500 more on FanDuel. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 214 points scored in this game. So this is going to be one of those low salary plays that's got pretty big upside to give your lineup some salary relief so you can fit in some of those Christmas studs. You know you're going to want to play those studs on Christmas Day as those guys go out and want to show off to their fans. So I like Sterling Brown here versus the Utah Jazz. Okay, everyone, it's time to announce the winner of our $100 PayPal giveaway. And the winner is Don Shapilier. Don Shapilier, congratulations. You are the winner of this week's $100 Christmas giveaway. Congratulations. Please reply to our comment to collect your prize. And continue to comment and like and subscribe to these videos because we're going to do this $100 giveaway again this week. So you got another crack at, got another chance at winning this hundo, as someone said in the comments. So continue to support the videos, guys. We appreciate all of the viewers here and the people who use Draft Dashboard. Please have a great holiday season, and thanks once again for all your support.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $100 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and then we'll send you $100 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. So talking about Christmas studs, I like LeBron James from the Los Angeles Lakers playing the Brooklyn Nets, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They've been good versus opposing small forwards, but LeBron James has averaged 50.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 37 minutes per game with a 30% usage rate. He's projected at he's going to be about 39% owned and projected at 50.9 fantasy points here tonight. But I could see him scoring 60 plus fantasy points in this one, getting you 5 times value or more. He's 10,800 DraftKings salary, 100 more on FanDuel. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 224 points scored in this game. And LeBron James has been on a roll, scoring 62, 50, and 64 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 34, 34, and 39 minutes. I also like this pick because he scored 52, 62, 63, and 59 fantasy points in his last 4 games here versus the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, now another stud on the slate that's going to have relatively low ownership that I think's got some pretty big upside is Jason Tatum. But I am going to give you a lower salary player at this position in a minute. But Jason Tatum from the Boston Celtics playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Jason Tatum has averaged 46 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 37 minutes per game with a 32% usage rate. So he's only going to be about 7% owned, projected at 47.2 fantasy points here tonight. But I like this pick, and I think he's going to score more than that projection because just real quick, take a look at his last 5 games versus the Bucks. He scored 62, 49, 57, 41, and 50 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Bucks. So he has outstanding player versus team history, and that's kind of the reason that I like this pick. On top of that low ownership, I just think he's going to be a stud that may surprise some people here tonight. And he's 10,400 DraftKings salary, and he's 900 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 221 points scored in this game. So I like Jason Tatum here versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, now here is another value play, super low salary. Now the ownership on this guy is pretty high, but for good reason. So take a look at Otto Porter Jr. from the Golden State Warriors playing the Phoenix Suns, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing power forwards. Otto Porter Jr., he scored 33 and 31 fantasy points in his last 2 games, playing 30 in 29 minutes. He's going to be about 54% owned, projected at 21.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.4 times value. So he's going to crush value if he scores 30 fantasy points or more in this one, because he's only $3,900 DraftKings salary, $600 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 215.5 points scored in this game. So I like Otto Porter Jr. as a value play here versus the Phoenix Suns. Okay, moving on to the center position. I got a stud and a value play for you here, or a mid-range play. So for my stud pick, I like Rudy Gobert from the Utah Jazz playing the Dallas Mavericks, who have a good defense overall. They give up the second most fantasy points to opposing centers. Rudy Gobert has averaged 42.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. Now, he's only projected at 43.8 fantasy points, but I think he's going to score 50 fantasy points or more, get you over 5 times value. Did I say he's going to be about 8% owned? So low ownership, or relatively low ownership on a 5-game slate for Rudy Gobert. He's $9,200 DraftKings salary, the same price on FanDuel. And I can see why his ownership is not going to be super high, because they've bumped up the salary of Rudy Gobert. But Rudy Gobert has scored 54, 56, and 48 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 35, 36, and 37 minutes. Rudy Gobert has been drastically underpriced all season long, and they've finally jacked up his salary. But I think it's a nice balance here because his ownership is relatively low. And I also like this pick because he scored 41, 36, and 68 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Mavericks. So I like that potential 60-plus fantasy point upside from Rudy Gobert. And really, he's just been on a tear the last 5 games. His lowest score was 42. And outside that, he's scoring just about 50 fantasy points or more 4 out of the 5 games that he's been playing. And it's a good matchup at the center position. So I like Rudy Gobert here versus the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, and now here's my mid-range play at the center position. I like Robert Williams from the Boston Celtics playing the Milwaukee Bucks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing centers. Robert Williams has averaged 27 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 12% usage rate. He's projected at 28.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.9 times value. He's $5,800 DraftKings salary, $200 less on FanDuel, and Vegas thinks there's going to be 221 points scored in this game. And Robert Williams has scored 54 and 30 fantasy points in his last 2 games, playing 34 and 29 minutes. This guy is a point per minute monster. Well, his fantasy points per minute, just about 1 fantasy point per minute. So if he's going to be out there for 34 minutes, you can pretty much expect 34 plus fantasy points, which would be way over 5 times value. So I like Robert Williams here versus the Milwaukee Bucks.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.